Welcome to Bear Archery's Hunting 101 podcast, where hunters new and old come to learn and find inspiration from stories of hunts gone by. Everyone is welcome to enjoy the outdoor way of life, and there is no better time to start than right now. So let's head into the great outdoors with your host, Dylan Ray.
All right, guys, thank you for joining us today on Bear Archery's Hunting 101 podcast. I'm joined by a special guest, a new friend, and excited to talk, excited to tell some hunting stories and just get to know each other a little better. We got Mr. Matt Jennings. Matt, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you doing today?
Man, I am absolutely finer than frog hair.
That's pretty fine. I'm from the South, and that's real fine.
70 degrees here in Kansas. Shot my bow for about an hour this morning, and you can't beat that.
No, man, you've had a good day. Better than mine. I've been on conference calls and checking emails and doing all that fun stuff. But I'm gonna try to shoot my bow here in a little bit because we finally got a pretty day. It's been raining down here in the South. This seems like every other day, so I'm gonna go try to work on our suntan and shoot the bow for a little bit.
Yes, sir. These are the kind of days, man, I find myself just working on the deck and sitting out on the deck with my computer and getting work done from out there since it's so pretty.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all on that one.
Now, you are the host of The Game, correct?
Yes, sir. That is it. The game.
Tell me a little bit about how you got to where you're at, man. How did all this come to happen?
Well, first off, the good Lord, He's helped me to get where I'm at 100%. But I started my business roughly 2.5, 3 years ago, or August of 2018. Just started out on a limb, and I was working with another guy through another show, and we was being successful, and I just kind of branched out, went my own way, and my buddy Stephen Tucker, he was actually started it with me. And he is the current world record holder right now out of the good state of Tennessee. He killed a little 315-inch 3-year-old. And
A little bitty one, huh?
A little bitty one, 3 years old, yep. And me and him rocked and rolled for a year. And we, like I said, we started in August, and which, you know, a lot of people don't know, but a lot of all the marketing's done, you know, February, January, you know, way prior to August, and the good Lord blessed us enough to give us a little bit of money to run on, and we really showed out and had a really good year. I think we killed 1,000 or 1,200 inches of bone with our bows that year, and had a really good hit, and was having a lot of traction. And long story short, on his behalf, he little baby was on the way, and he had some stuff come up, and he just couldn't fulfill all the obligations, and he wanted to step away for a little bit, and which me and him still great friends to this day. I consider him like my brother. And he told me, you know, when everything got settled down, that he would come back, and which he still helps me in Tennessee. And I hunt with them guys every year, and we always have good luck up there. They got some awesome properties. And man, honestly, is just a little kid with a dream. You know, I'm just a little redneck from Woodland, Alabama. I ain't nothing special, and I just kind of took it and run with it and made connections and did, I guess, enough good work that I couldn't be denied on some stuff, and finally started really getting some recognition. And man, I just been holding on to the handlebars, keeping it full throttle ever since, and I'm at where I'm at today, you know.
Now, where can people watch the game?
We're running on Carbon TV, the Mossy Oak Go app, My Outdoor TV, Hunt channel, and then YouTube page. And then we do a lot of our mainstream stuff through the Facebook off the game page. That's kind of our bread and butter. We also have an Instagram page, but I usually just run it through my personal page on Instagram, and Matthew Jennings 1990 The Game. And I've been wanting to go. I've run on Pursuit channel before, and I've been wanting to go back on it full stream, but I don't want to put the cart in front of the horses. I just want to make sure I want to get with the right people and stick with the right people and build them relationships before we, you know, make that plunge.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Before we go any further, let me give a quick thank you to my friends at Delta McKenzie. I'm in the process of building a backyard 3D range, and should be done by about Monday. And here's what I've done: I've got me about 6 3D targets from Delta McKenzie, and I'm building a new back deck, and my contractor is building me a shooting platform in the left corner of my deck, so I can climb up that elevated platform and shoot from an elevated platform at different 3D targets in my backyard, anywhere from 15 yards to 40 yards. So I'm incredibly excited. Delta McKenzie makes some incredible targets, so go check them out and all of their awesome targets. And my personal favorite one, the Goblin target, is just fun to shoot. So go check out Delta McKenzie and all their awesome targets. So with the birth of this show, you said it was 2 years ago, correct?
Yes, sir.
Has that kind of altered your mindset towards wanting to hunt for a living?
No, sir, not at all. I guess I've been dreaming about this since, I guess I was 8 years old. First deer I ever killed, I was sitting in my daddy's lap with a 20 gauge shotgun, chewing sunflower seeds, shooting a bull with him. And man, I ain't been right since. And like I haven't. I mean, I've never been, obsessed with anything but deer hunting. I love it. I would rather do that than breathe any day of the week. And anybody that knows me personally, they can vouch for me. Regardless if a camera's with me, which they're always with me now. Regardless, at the end of the day, I'm going hunting or fishing, or I'm gonna be outside, doing something. Regardless if I got a big camera over my shoulder.
Yeah, the only reason I asked, man, is because I had a friend one time, and I'm not going to say any names because I don't have the permission to, but uh, he was a school teacher and decided to he got offered, or he won enough, or however it works, to go on the pro fishing tour. So he told his wife, he said, "Man, this is a dream of mine. Um, I've always wanted to do this, and I got to give it at least a year. I need to do it just
Yep.
for a year so I can say I did, so I can live the dream, so I can, be there and feel what it's like." And so he did it, and just was wildly successful. And, he won like $500,000 in his first year.
That's
So
awesome.
needless to say, 10 years later, he's still a pro fisherman. Um, but, and that's why I asked, because I was talking with him one day, and he's like, man, it's just a job now.
Yeah.
I used to escape from my job by going fishing, and now you're on the water all day long, and you get off the water, load the boat up, and you might have to drive 6 hours that night to be at the next lake in the next morning. And I just told him, I'm like, man, I've had the unique pleasure of making hunting my living, and I've certainly never felt like that a day in my life. So I was just curious to know, man.
Well, it's got its pros and its cons. When everything's going, I guess you would say right or going your way, yeah, it's all easy peasy. But when it's not, and you got, your company's calling you going, hey, I need this and I need that, and you're taking a butt whipping everywhere you go because at the end of the day, man, you can't control a wild animal. You can't control Mother Nature. And, sometimes it don't go your way. And you gotta keep your head down and keep grinding and I guess the hardest part is, when you're in camp with a lot of people, that look up to you or put you on, that platform, and you're not having no luck and you're taking a butt whipping, you got to come in and be in a good mood, and you got to talk to them, and you might have to take some pictures with them or sign their shirts and all that stuff, but that would probably be, I'd say, the toughest part is, which I'm always in a good mood because I've been blessed more than I deserve. But I would say that just, I guess, mentally and physically wears on you, and just having to be on all the time. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't take nothing for it. Because you got your high points and your low points, it can suck all year long, and then within a head turn, man, it's the best year you ever had.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes, and it's fun when it happens that way. And now, what's your setup this year look like for as far as bear archery goes? What kind of bow you running? How's it set up?
I'm shooting the new Redemption EKO, and I've got it. I've had it probably now for 3 months, I would say, and I mean out of the box, it probably shot by far the prettiest bullet hole I've ever seen go through a piece of paper. And I looked at my bow guy Harley Clark, and because he was kind of giving me a hard time and about it, because they're bow tech guys, you know how every bow shop is, they got their favorite
Yeah.
bows, and he was giving me a hard time, and I shot that bullet hole, and he looks at me and he goes, well, he said, I won't give you no hard time no more. He said, that's probably the best looking bullet hole that's ever been shot in this shop. And I said,
Really?
I told you, man. And I've been fortunate enough. I've killed 2 turkeys with it. I reaped one, cut its throat at 35 yards, and then shot another one at 56 yards, just to break her in and get a little blood on the limb so she'd be ready to rock and roll when it got September. But man, I'm loving it right now. I mean, it's smooth. I mean, the let off on it, man, which you can adjust it from, I think it's 75 to 90, and I got mine set on 85, and pretty much you have to push it down. And
Yeah.
the new, what I was really impressed with was the new lock level in the riser. It's a game changer for when you're fine tuning and getting everything set up and dialed in. You can just look at that level and make sure, I guess it just gives you a peace of mind, in other words.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I have a super similar experience with my bow in the setup, and I'm not going to name the shop because I don't have great things to say about them. But I got it on a Thursday, and I was just super anxious to get out. I was going hunting that Friday morning, so I was like, "Well, I think I can get this set up tonight, hunt with it in the morning."
Mm-hmm.
And I usually go to a bow shop in Missouri, which is a few hours away, but I just wanted to hunt with it that next morning, so I took it to a local shop, and I'd had a little issues with the guys before, but I really wanted this bow set up, and so I walk in, and they immediately start giving me troubles about the bear, and immediately started making. I was going to shoot a whisker biscuit for the first time in like 9 years,
Yeah.
and they started laughing at a whisker biscuit, poking fun at it, and then they went on to saying, "Well, you're shooting a 4-flat, so it'll never work out of a whisker biscuit." And I said, "Dude, just let me set
Just
the
put it
bow
on
up,
there. Just put it
just
on
put it
there.
together." Yeah.
I'm paying you for it. Just shut up and put it on
Yes,
there.
exactly. And so I finally got them to put it together, and lo and behold, that bow, very first shot out of the box, whisker biscuit 4-fletch. They had laughed at it and made fun of it, bullet hole. And I basically just said, "Well, thank you very much, sir," and walked out. But man, that
Deuces.
bow, yeah, yeah. No, I was shocked, man. First shot out of the box, bullet hole. Went out the next Friday morning, and I shot a buck here in Kansas, and just couldn't have been happier, man. Really couldn't.
That's awesome, man. That's a heck of a story, ain't no doubt.
And really, what the best part was is and I've told this story before on the podcast, so I don't want to relive it too much. But um, that deer came out, and I was shooting the SK2 from Sick, and
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of shied away from mechanicals for a long time.
Yeah.
But with the design of that broadhead, I figured I'd give it a shot, and that was the first animal I shot with that broadhead, and actually busted through both shoulders of a mature Kansas whitetail. So I was just, man, blown away by the performance of the Redemption, by the performance of a whisker biscuit, and that broadhead. And I questioned and I doubted long distance accuracy with the whisker biscuit, but I've got her out to 80 so far, and just performing great, man. So,
That's awesome.
what's your accessory setup like?
I'm running the lighted up Trophy Ridge quiver, which is awesome, by the way. I don't know the full name of it. I just know it lights up, and it's the best thing since sliced bread. You don't even need a flashlight to
The
go
heck,
hunting no more.
the hex light.
Yeah, the hex light, that's it. And that thing, man, out of everything I get all year long, that's probably the most game changer thing to me, because you know how tough it is when you're getting set up in a tree or going to a tree. You're always looking for your flashlight or doing something, and you pop that thing on green light, and you're ready to rock and roll, and it's already pointed to the ground. And because I used it several times turkey hunting this year, and using that, the Trophy Ridge drop away, I really like it so far. Haven't had any issues out of it. Everything's pretty much Trophy Ridge on my bow besides the bear. I'm shooting, I think, the 6-inch Trophy Ridge stabilizer, just because, in tight areas I can get a little bit more movement out of it, and just kind of. Yeah, I think the more compact you are in hunting, the better advantage you got at the end of the day, because it never goes how you plan on it going.
No, it doesn't.
Sometimes you got to do a goonie flip and stay on you. Do a backflip to shoot one. Usually the way it goes for me, it don't never just come by and, hey, let me shoot you. You got to do a acrobatic twist to shoot at them.
Yeah, yeah. Down there in the South, man, it's a lot thicker. Guys
Oh
don't
yeah,
understand. I grew up in Northwest Arkansas, hunting the Ozarks, and guys don't understand. When I moved to Kansas, man, this whole idea of seeing a deer from 200 yards coming in from a wheat field
yeah.
was unknown to me.
Yeah, well,
You know,
I tell all my buddies that live in the Midwest and in Kansas and all that. I said, "But if you have to live in Alabama, you'd probably take up golf or tennis, because hunting down here ain't nothing like it is up there. Totally
nothing.
different world.
It's a
Nothing.
different ball game. It's
Yep,
like hunting a different species, a different
it
animal. I mean,
is.
it's insane. And
It is.
that's the beauty of whitetail hunting is whitetail hunting in Texas is nothing like whitetail hunting in Kansas.
Oh
And
no.
whitetail hunting in the the Ozark Mountains, or the big mountains, are nothing like hunting and in Colorado is completely different than hunting in Missouri. I mean, it's a different game everywhere you go.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I think at the end of the day, down in the South, it's tougher hunting, or I know it's tougher hunting. Um, and don't get me wrong, now in the Midwest, I mean, it's still tough hunting. They're just not going to walk by you and let you shoot them. But I think coming from the South and being successful down here, I can take my knowledge, and when I go up north, I can adapt to that situation a whole lot quicker than a lot of people would, because just where I come from, my roots kind of kick in, and that sixth sense, my superpowers, as I call it, they kick in, and you can just read everything a little bit quicker and a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah. Now, before we move on, you are a close partner of ScentLock, correct?
Yes, sir, I am.
Man, those guys over there, not only some of my best friends and some of the greatest guys in the history of the world to work with, but their products are absolutely just incredible. Um, what kind of system are you running from ScentLock?
Man, pretty much everything they carry, to be honest with you, because it's all so good. But probably the most thing I've been impressed with since this past year would be the new BE1 reactor heated vest. It's been a game changer for me. I would say you already
Yes,
know that if you're tied in with them at
yes,
any, or if you're pretty much a U.S. citizen and deer hunt, you already know what that is. If you don't, you're missing out, because I mean, it'll definitely give you that, I guess, extra mental stability to sit up there on a 20-degree day and 30-mile-an-hour winds. You kick that joker on and you're like in the Bahamas. I mean, it takes the pain out of that 20-degree day.
yes, yes. You're spot on with that, man. Um, and my boss is funny because I work for Pope and Young. I'm
Mm-hmm.
the marketing director at Pope and Young,
Okay.
and my boss over there said one time, back, I don't know how many years ago, but before electronics were real prominent in the hunting industry, he was on a duck hunt and he pulled out some electronic heated hand warmers,
Mm-hmm.
and he said all the guys were poking fun of me, saying, "Oh, look at you! You got to have electricity to keep you warm and blah blah." This what that. He said, "Well, it's like a 4-degree day duck hunting, and they're all trying to blow in their hands and and
Thaw them
keep
out.
their hands, thaw them out." And he
Yeah.
said they look over at me and my hands are steaming warm, and just I pull my hands out of my pocket, and I could feel and touch, and he said, sure enough, next time we come back into camp, all these guys had electric heat hand warmers,
Yeah.
and that's just man, laugh at me all you want, but I'm going to stay out longer. I'm going to be more comfortable. And when you're more comfortable, you'll be more still in the tree stand.
Yep.
You'll be, and so ultimately you'll be more successful.
Oh yeah.
But man, you're absolutely right. ScentLock makes some incredible products, and that's my favorite thing about ScentLock. What you said is you said I have all their products. I hate my pet peeve is a clothing company, and you look at it and you're like, well, it's all late season. What I mean,
Yep.
I don't have anything to wear early season, or it's all early season. I don't have anything once it gets cold. Um, and ScentLock covers you for all bases, which is why I love them. Because whether I'm hunting in Texas and it's 90, or whether I'm hunting in Kansas when it's 10, I'm covered and I'm
Yep.
comfortable.
Yep.
So yeah, man. Do you use any of the Oz products?
I do. I got one Oz unit. As much as we stay in my truck riding, it's a must
Yeah.
because after you travel, 6 months out of the year in one truck, man, it can get pretty stinky here and there. And usually after every trip or when I'm on a trip, I have it turned on and just to kill all the bacteria and odors because at the end of the day, I got to get in that truck to go hunting and I don't want no other, odors on me. If I can get a head start on my odors in my truck, that just gives me an advantage. And the Oz unit helps me do that.
Have you ever used the Infuse?
No, I have not.
Do you know what it is?
I do know what it is. I've seen it, but I've never used it. I'm gonna blame
Dude,
Steve. I'm gonna blame Steve for that. And I'm gonna give a shout out to my man Steve Alley from Scent Lock. But no, he ain't got me one of those yet.
hey, hey, I like giving people shout outs, but I like not telling them I gave them a shout out
Oh
because
man.
then I get to see if they actually listen to my podcast or not. So
Oh yeah.
if if we get a text from Steve, we'll know he
We'll, we'll
listens.
we'll know he listened to it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Man, the Infuse, if you use field spray,
Yep.
any kind of field spray, the Infuse is one of the greatest investments you'll ever make. Because, I mean, if you use field spray, you might go through 4 or 5 bottles in a year. Well, you're already up 15, 16, $20.
Oh yeah.
And for $120, you have a refillable, reusable ozone generator that infuses your water with ozone, then you spray it onto your clothes. I mean, it's a game changer. It's absolutely incredible.
And I,
So go check out the Infuse from Oz.
and I've noticed too, a lot of people is using it other than the outdoor industry type people's using it in their homes, sporting events, a bunch of different ways besides just hunting.
Yeah,
Um,
my wife uses it for countertops and everything. So it serves more purposes than just stinky clothing for sure. Now, what's your upcoming year look like? What's your big hunts for this year look like?
we'll start off in Tennessee for the August velvet hunt. We'll start out there for 3 days, jump on an airplane, head up to Minnesota to 4T Outfitters to my good buddy Tony Dorn. He runs an awesome place up that way. We'll go on a 5 to 6 day bear hunt. He's got some giant black bears up there. And then also, every now and then, we'll get a good colored bear or cinnamon bear in there and hunt up there for 5 or 6 days, hop back on a plane, roll into the Bluegrass State, Kentucky, up at One Fatal Mistake, hunt there for 5 days. Kind of after that, come home, take a break, catch up on some sleep, roll out back to more likely Tennessee, I guess, for their opener. I got some really good property up there this year. Hunt up there for a few days. Go to Ohio to hunt up my place up there. And then I got Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Indiana, Oklahoma, and Texas, I think.
Good Lord,
Yeah, we'll
making
be.
it a tour.
Yes, sir. I like to keep it interesting.
I'm gonna call you Mr. 50 because it seems like you hit all 50 states in a year, dude.
I wish I could. I wish I
now,
could.
now we are in the heat of turkey season. Are you a turkey hunter at all?
I am. I am. I would. Well,
I know
I
you
love.
shot one just a couple weeks ago, a couple
Yeah.
days ago, but There's a difference in going out and shooting a turkey and being a turkey hunter.
Oh yeah, man. Turkey hunters are a different breed. There ain't no doubt about that. I've
Man, I've
learned.
got this guy. I've got this friend of mine, and he travels like he'll go on like a turkey tour. He'll
Oh
go
yeah.
Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, and I'm like, why? It's just a turkey.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you mentioned bear, and I'm like, dude, there's spring bear seasons. There's hogs. I can be to Oklahoma in an hour and hunt hogs. And I can
Yep.
kill as many as I want a night, any way I want to, anyhow, any means. So I don't focus much on turkeys, man.
Well, I will say on the turkeys, I mean it is an awesome hunt, especially if you're on some good property and the birds act right. I mean it's a ball. But when they're not, man, that it's like a marriage. When it's great, it's great. When it's bad, it's bad. And we was in Indiana actually for the Scentlock meetings the other day, and the weather was bad. Birds just wasn't talking, and it was just kind of a more or less, I guess you'd say, hangout camp than anything. And it was just one of those deals where it just wasn't no good. The birds wasn't where they need to be yet, or they wasn't on the properties we could get on. And then we roll into Tennessee, and seems like you can sweet talk just about any bird you want to, and we had success down there. But it just depends on where you're at, and timing and weather on the turkeys. But I got some buddies, them jokers. They do like I do deer hunting. They're all over the place, and I've learned when you're in turkey camp how the time sets up. You come in at 9 o'clock. By the time you get done eating, and then everybody gets done, hanging out, talking, and so forth. It's 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Then you right back up at 4 o'clock, rolling again. You don't get much sleep during turkey season.
Yeah, yeah. I again, it's one thing. I'll go once or twice a year. If a buddy asks me to go, or there's a group of guys going, and I'll go once or twice a year. But I certainly don't qualify myself as a turkey hunter, just because it's not something I mean, I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. It's always a blast, but
It just
when
don't it just don't blow your dress up like the big game stuff.
yes, that's what
Oh,
I'm
I
talking
get it.
about.
Oh, I know. I get what you're saying. Trust me, I
No,
understand.
well, and really it boils down to this. With three young kids, I've kind of got to be particular about the time off and the
Oh
time
yeah,
away.
yeah. Mama Bear be done
Um,
got you.
yeah. So it's one thing to say, hey, I'm going on a week-long spring bear hunt, and then when I am home, I'm out turkey hunting, or to say, hey, I'm going. I mean, just here in 2 weeks, I'm going on a hog hunt, and so, you plan a couple hog hunts and a bear hunt, and all of a sudden, it's hard to ask to leave when you are home to go turkey hunting. So,
Oh yeah.
I gotta pick and choose, and man, bears get me fired up just about more than anything. So,
Oh yeah,
um,
man. It's a rush that you can't describe. I got to experience that 2 years ago for my first bear hunt, and you think a big bear you'd be able to hear it or see it coming in, but you don't. They
no,
they slide up on you like a ghost, and when
it
they're
was
there, they're
insane.
there. Yeah.
It's insane, insane. My wife went on a bear hunt with me last year. I went to on a bear hunt in Maine, and the North Maine woods are the thickest places you've ever been. Like you can't see past 20 yards. You can't see up at the sky. Um, so when it gets dark, it's dark, and I
Yep.
mean dark, dark. And so we're sitting there in a ground blind, and every twig, leaf, or twig that she heard turn over, she thought a bear was coming through that blind. And I'm like, you don't get it. If you hear it, it's probably not a bear.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
but then, man, we came out of that blind one night, and it was pitch black. And you want to talk about a scared little gal? She decided this ain't for me. I'm going to sit at the lodge the rest of the time you go hunting.
uh,
I will say this: one night, I was walking out, and I get back to the road, and I thought to myself, well, I'm just going to walk up the road as far as I can until the guide comes. That way, just less time, and rather than just sitting here. So I take off walking up that road, and I'm walking up the road, and I take a step through a narrow part where there's trees on both sides of me, and all of a sudden, dude, a bear just busts out of there. Um, Obviously scared, running the other way. But when you see a bear 10 feet from you in the pitch black, it's pretty stinking terrifying.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so the rest of the time I was walking down that road, buddy, I was singing to the top of my lungs, making sure everything else in the woods was far away from me. I was
Oh
singing
yeah.
I was singing any song I could get a hold of,
Singing
and
Kumbaya.
just as loud as I could, man.
Oh
And
yeah.
but I didn't tell my wife that I had that close encounter. And again, I was in no danger. I mean, when I passed it, it just took off running, you know.
Oh yeah.
Um, I was in no danger, but it still scared the bejesus out of me. And so I didn't tell her about the close call. That way she'd come back out and hunt with me again.
Oh
She
yeah.
ended up not. But anyway.
Oh, I got two good or three really, but I'll make them short. First year that I went up to 4T, I killed my bear. I smoked him. He runs about 10 yards, dies, lets out, a death moan. And since I've been little, everybody that bear hunts always talks about that. When I got to experience, face to face with that animal, and it was a feeling that you can't describe. I mean, it gives me chills right now just talking about it. And
It's an eerie noise,
oh
that's for
oh yeah,
sure.
oh yeah, man, it's insane. And a guy in camp, he shoots a bear, and he didn't make the best shot on it. Well, that night we go track it, and it's me. I'm flagging. Tony D's running a big light, and then my good buddy Russ Comer, he was with us running the axe because in them parts you are not allowed to have a firearm on a track job, which is crazy, but that's just that's the rules you got to go by. So we're cutting our way through this jungle, and we're on blood, and we get to this like little dip. We've been tracking for about 80 to 100 yards, and we stop, and I said, "Man, y'all smell that?" And about the time that come out of my mouth, that bear runs by me and hits my shoulder blade. And
Oh,
and
Lord have
and I
mercy.
and I said, "Oh." And Russ, he's like my pawpaw. And when he says, "Son, it's time to go," it's time to go, because he's been in some situations what no man even think about being in, or could dream of being in. And when he looked at me and he said, "Well, it's North Dakota, son, it's time to go," I said, "Yeah, buddy, you ain't got to tell me twice. Let's go." And but we ended up recovering the bear the next day. And then this past year, the last set we was on, we were stubborn this year. We went after one big bear we called Man. He was an absolute giant. He was probably, I know he was well over 7 foot, probably 7'3", 7'4", black bear. He was a giant. And I was letting just bears I should have shot 100 times over walk, just hunting that one in particular bear. And the last set, we went to this other spot. They'd been just getting hammered. And it's 1 o'clock. I hear something to my left. And I kind of look, and I look back to the right, and there's my dream bear standing there, this big chocolate, this mega giant. And hit my producer, and I'm like, here we go. Time to get to work. Bear comes in, it's at like 8 yards. I'm clipped up, about to draw on it, and as soon as I'm about to draw on it, I hear something up under me. I look, and there's 4 little cubs. There's a cinnamon cub, 2 chocolate cubs, and a black cub with like a chocolate face. Just beautiful, beautiful animals, and they're probably 6 months old. Well, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, man, I can't shoot this bear, because if I do, these cubs ain't gonna make it. So we sat there and watched. They put on a show for probably 2 hours. I'm talking. We had a birthday cake in a chum pile, and they got icing all over them. Man, it's gonna be awesome. Oh, dude, it was awesome. I mean, it's awesome. And had a GoPro in the chum pile, and the mama picks it up, just kind of with her mouth, and just you can see me and my producer up in the stand, and you see her pick it up with her mouth, and she just kind of chunks it. I thought she'd eat it, honestly. And we're sitting there, and taking all this in and just enjoying every second of it. And a squirrel or a bird or something kind of made some racket. Well, when that happened, the cubs just hit the trees, and they're up in our laps. And about that time, Mama Bear stands up on her back legs, and she come out of complete camera frame. She was so tall. And I about went through the back of the oak tree that I was sitting in, because I felt about a centimeter big. I ain't never felt so small and helpless in my life. I mean, she was pretty much eye level with me. And I kind of looked at my producer, and he kind of looked at me like, "Oh my God," And we had a multi-trail camera set up down there, and it got it on camera also, and it was a memory that I'll never forget. Just kind of showed how powerful those animals are. You don't want to you don't want to misjudge them because they'll upset you quick.
Right. Are you going on a spring bear hunt? You got any spring bear plans?
I ain't never did a spring hunt. I was gonna do one last year, but since the whole pandemic stuff was going on, uh, all the borders got closed, so we didn't get to do one. We might do one this year if the borders open back up. But I know definitely I'll be hunting bear September 1st. Um,
Now, I do want to talk real quick about spring versus fall bears. Um, are you a big cooker? You like to eat wild game, prepare wild game?
uh, Man, to be honest with you, I kill it and my lady cooks it.
Okay, that's fine. Well, hey man, I do a little thing called Cooking 101, and
I got you.
it's
Well,
brought to our
I might learn something.
yeah, no, it's brought to our good friends by Rebel Six Seasonings. Rebel Six makes all different sorts of wild game seasonings. So for whatever kind of meat you're preparing, they make a seasoning for it. Really cool. If you're cooking deer, they've got venison seasonings, they've got fish seasonings, bear seasonings. Uh, Now, what is your favorite wild game?
I would probably say, well, man, all of it's good. Uh, Probably I'd say favorite Midwest corn-fed
Yes.
deer meat. It's hard to beat that. I mean, bear back straps is off the chain. I had that last year and the year before. We always try to eat it when we're up there because I'm not able to bring it back just because our travel schedule. I was really, really impressed with bear.
Now
It
that's
was
what I was
really
going to
good.
tell you. You had fall bear.
Yep.
Fall bear seems to be, in my experience, 10 times better than spring bear. So when we're talking cooking, if you want meat to eat, go for a fall
Hmm.
bear. They're fatter. They've stored up their fat for hibernation, and they're so much sweeter if you're in a place with berries. They've been eating on berries. And
Yep.
it's just they're 100 times better. A bear in the fall always tastes, in my experience. Don't start shooting me emails saying, "Dude, I've had spring bear, it's good." I'm not saying all spring bear is bad, and I'm not saying spring bear in general is bad. I'm just saying, in my experience, in the fall, bears taste a lot better. Um, and I'll tell you, here's what you need to do: make breakfast pizzas. So just buy your regular crust and make breakfast pizzas, but use bear meat for the sausage. My buddy Austin shot him a nice bear last year in Colorado, and I heard him say that, and he wasn't even like telling me to try it, but I heard him say breakfast pizza with bear sausage, and I was like, okay, I'm on it. And so I did it a few days later, just fantastic. Bear meat makes fantastic sausage. I told Alec and Steve both that I want to make a T-shirt that just says "Bear for breakfast."
It would probably sell.
Yeah, man, it's fantastic meat. I love it. So now, real quick before we go, I did mention Pope and Young, and I just
Hmm.
want to throw this in there. Uh, the Pope and Young convention is July 14th through the 17th, and I want to see each and every single one of you there. We're going to be doing some filming for Bear Archery. It's going to be a blast. So come out and see us. We have a fantastic lineup of speakers going to be there. Michael Waddell, Andrew McKean, Remy Warren, Nick Hoffman. It's just going to be a blast. Go to Pope and Young, pope-young.org/convention to get more information. But I would absolutely love to see all you guys there. We're going to have shooting lanes. So show up. Let's shoot some bows together. Let's hang out. Let's have a good time because it's going to be a blast. So make sure and at least look into it if you can't come. Now, you know, you know that Fred Bear was big on his field notes. So I always like to ask my guest, what's a field note you've learned over the years? Just something that you have learned and taken to become a better hunter, and something I can put in my arsenal to make me a better hunter.
Oh man, that's a big question. Uh, don't ever take anything for granted. And at the end of the day, man, that's a big question, but you got me off guard with that one.
That's what I like to do. I got
You
one.
got me on that one. I'm thinking.
I got one. You thinking? I'll share mine. Pee out of your tree stand. All the time. Pee out of your tree stand. I grew up. My dad was a scent freak, and so we'd pee in bottles, and nobody wants to do that. You forget them in your pack, and it's just nasty. Well, I read a study one time put out by QDMA, and they said that 80% of your pee, I don't remember the exact percentage, but 80 or 90 or something, 84%, something like that, of your pee is ammonia. Well, the same percentage of a deer's pee is ammonia. The other, 13% or the other leftover percent is what you drank or ate or toxins leaving your body or whatever. Now, within 20 minutes, 100% of your pee has turned to ammonia. So within 20 minutes, your pee smells exactly like that of a deer.
Oh yeah.
So
Everything breaks down, the chemical balance in it.
absolutely, if I'm hunting and I'm hunting over a scrape, pee on it, pee in it, and I've seen bucks go absolutely wild over that. But also just pee out of your tree stand all the time, because not only will it not hurt, but I've seen it help. So,
Dude, that's probably the best tip I've ever heard on any podcast or any podcast I've ever listened to.
there you go, my friend. You heard
That's about as cut dry as you can get it right there, buddy.
you heard it here first.
Oh yeah, that's
Did
gonna be a
you
new slogan.
did you think of one for me?
Uh, to be honest with you, I'd say hunt every day like it's your last, and take every second in.
Yeah.
That would be just off the top of my head, because I mean, at the end of the day, we're all blessed to enjoy what the good Lord's created for us, and
Yeah.
hunt everyone like, or hunt ever, sit like it's your last and give it everything you got.
It's great advice, man. Whether you like them, love them, or hate them, I tend to love them. But the guys over at the hunting public, every time I watch them, that's just what I think of. I'm like, man, they just go for it, and I love it. And they just enjoy doing what they're doing, and they don't fall into the monotony of it. They
Yeah.
get out there and have a blast, and that's what I strive to do. So, man, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you at on Instagram and Facebook?
Facebook, the game on Facebook, or Matthew Jennings, and on Instagram, the game 365, or Matthew Jennings 1990 on Instagram.
Very good. Make sure and go check him out. Puts out some great content, and can't wait to see what he does in the 23 states he's going to this fall. No, I'm just kidding.
I hope not.
Can't wait to see what he does, and so go check him out. Before we go, let me give it one more quick thank you to my friends over at Three Rivers Archery. Just some fantastic guys over there. A wealth of knowledge when it comes to traditional shooting. So if you are a traditional archer or looking to get into traditional archery, those guys are a wealth of knowledge, and knowledge is absolutely free. I call them up on the phone all the time, and they're always happy to answer questions, always happy to help me, whether I'm asking a question on a product they sell or whether I'm asking a technical question on shooting. Always happy to answer it. And so check out Three Rivers, because those guys are not only one of the world's largest traditional dealers, but they just have incredible amounts of knowledge, and they're willing to give it out to anybody willing to ask. So check out Three Rivers Archeries. Guys, thanks for listening. You guys have a fantastic week.